Hey guys, it's Craig from the Yoga Web and welcome to today's video, How to Meditate for Beginners, Mindfulness, Breath Counting. During today's short video, I'm going to explain to you how you can start meditating. It's not going to be a guided practice. I'm simply breaking down the technique and providing you with some tools that you can go and practice in your own time. We'll be going over where you should be meditating, what position you should be in when meditating, how long we should be aiming to meditate for, the technique of breath counting, and then covering the two main things that stop us from meditating. Okay, so let's get started by finding somewhere to meditate. Now, it's possible to meditate anywhere. I suggest finding a comfortable space that is quiet and somewhere where you won't be disturbed. Also, try and find somewhere that you can go to consistently, as this will help build up meditation in your daily routine. Now that we have somewhere to meditate, we need to find a comfortable posture. Ideally, we would be sitting on the floor, legs crossed, arms relaxed in our laps, and our hands cupping one another like shells and the thumbs gently touching. Try to sit with a straight back where comfortable. And just let your face relax, let your head just gently rest forward. And your eyes can either gaze unfocused on the floor in front of you, or you can just gently close them. And should sitting on the floor be uncomfortable, feel free to use a chair, or you might even want to lay down. Just be careful when you're laying down that you don't get too comfortable or you may fall asleep. And this is one of the main things that stops meditating. It's pretty much dullness or the loss of consciousness. You need to remember that to meditate, we should be consciously aware of the present moment with single-pointed concentration. Now we should be aiming to meditate for between 5 to 10 minutes to start with. And the ideal time to meditate for is around 20 minutes twice a day, because this has been proven scientifically to provide some really amazing long-term benefits. But for now, just try to start with 5 to 10 minutes a day. Now, some people will recommend setting an alarm for your practice. Now, I think there's negatives and positives to doing this. Some people believe that by setting an alarm, it will take the pressure away from your brain of knowing when to stop the practice. And it will help with your concentration during the session, which is great, and if that works for you, then go for it. However, it might prevent you, for example, if you're really doing a good meditation that day, or really focusing well on your meditation and really into your practice, and your alarm goes off, it might stop you from having an extended period of meditation that would have been beneficial to you that day. So just go and have a practice, do both maybe, and find out whatever works for you really. The technique we're using today is going to be a mindfulness breath counting. Before we start a meditation, try and set yourself an objective each time. And the objective might be the same every day. It could be as simple as, through this practice of my meditation, I will become calmer and more prepared for the day ahead. We should start by getting into our comfortable position and then just bringing attention to the present moment. Taking the awareness to the breath, noticing the length of the in-breath, the natural pause between the in-breath and the out-breath, and then the length of the out-breath. Just calming the mind and being prepared to start our meditation today. Just being calm and still. And then just bringing our focus and our attention to our nose and really become aware as the air passes in through the nose as you breathe in. Keeping our focus pinned here. And as we breathe out, just count the number 1 in your head. Again, keep our focus here as we breathe in again. As we breathe out, Just count the number 2 in your head. And just continue this breath counting. And should another thought or distraction cross your mind, just try to acknowledge those thoughts with no judgment or attachment at all. When you're ready, just return back to the breath counting. And it may be to start with that we're only going to count to maybe 3 or 4, and then return back to 0 and repeat the practice. As we become more comfortable with the breath counting meditation, we might want to go up to 7 breaths and return back to 0, or maybe even 10 breaths and return to 0. And it's really important that we stay disciplined and present in our practice. We don't block out or don't try to stop thinking. Just simply becoming aware and counting the breath. I like to think of the brain in this situation as a big box with lots of scrunched up pieces of paper. And those scrunched up pieces of paper have our thoughts and the images of what our brain's trying to think of in those pieces of paper. And they're all just scrunched up, overflowing the box. And by becoming aware and acknowledging those thoughts as they cross our mind, we can just open those pieces of paper, acknowledge the thoughts, no judgment, no attachment, and then when we're ready, we can let those thoughts go, either float away or they can be stored nice and neatly, ready for when we consciously need them. And as a beginner, we might have a mind full of lots and lots of scrunched up pieces of paper. The more and more we practice, the more those thoughts get stored away nice and neatly, and eventually, over time, we have a nice, neat, organised brain that we can consciously gather our thoughts when and if we need them. Maybe once you've finished your practice, you might want to reflect, take some notes down on how you feel and how the practice went today. This is really good of keeping a log over a long period of time of your practice. Again, it's really important that we do this on a daily basis. It's much more beneficial to do a short meditation every day than try and catch up on meditations that we've missed by doing long practice. That's okay, should we miss 1 or 2 days, we don't need to do any longer meditations, we don't need to make up time. Just return back to your comfortable place and trying to continue that practice. It might be good to create a habit tracker or just a tick box of every time that you meditate. And over time, these tick boxes can get quite addictive, and it'd be a really good habit and a really good way of continuing your practice on a consistent basis. And some other people actually come up with habit triggers. So, for example, every time they come out of the shower, they'll go and meditate, and coming out of the shower is their trigger to go and meditate, or they'll have a set time every day that they'll meditate for. Or you might even want to make a rule that you can't have your morning coffee until you've meditated. I know for a close group of my friends that will be a really useful way to do it, because they love their coffee so much. So come up with a rule or a habit track or whatever you need to do to bring this into your regular routine. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video and you can take that technique and some of the information away to practice in your own time. Again, if you want to hear more videos from me or any ideas of what you want to hear, just pop a question or a comment below. And if you want to see more videos, just pop the subscribe button. So take care, guys, and thanks very much for listening.